You're listening to KEXP. It's 90.3 FM in Seattle, 92.7 in the Bay Area, KEXP.org online, and streaming worldwide on our mobile apps. My name is Mike Ramos, and here, down in our live room with, straight from Richmond, Virginia, Butcher Brown. Take it away, guys. KEXP, 90.3 FM in Seattle, 92.7 FM in the Bay Area, KEXP.org online and streaming on our mobile apps. However you're doing it, thank you for being here with us. Mike Ramos in the studio, live right now with Butcher Brown out of Richmond, Virginia. Amazing set, y'all. One of my favorite parts of every live set is, when we got to go do a little introduction. We're done with the session, though, so you don't got to take solos or nothing. But starting right over here to my left with the dope hollow body that was perfect for that George Benson cover.
Morgan Burrs on guitar.
And on bass, it says just bass, but they lied to me because you just pulled out that cool little like synth moog thing from the last song there.
Yeah. My name is Andy Randazzo.
Right on. On drums, with that dope solo between those songs.
Currie Fonville.
Nice.
Drums and cymbals.
Very dope. And then on the sax, the trumpet, all those solos and goodness.
Tennishu from Richmond, Virginia.
Yep. And then the man on the keys, the Nord, and the 88 key Baldwin over here.
Mm-hmm. DJ Harrison.
All right, thanks for coming through, y'all. And Richmond, Virginia, you guys go back, like your first album came out, 2013-ish, I want to say. But you've been together since way before that, playing together before that, right? And I read somewhere in some interview that a couple of you went to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. Was that all of you, or is that just a couple?
Everybody except for
Four of
Corey.
us.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I was just kind of doing a little bit more reading about that, and it seems like they have a pretty reputable jazz department. Is that, or like music department in general at VCU?
Yeah.
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 For a long time, a lot of musicians have come through there. A lot of musicians that we learned from and played with over the years. Still doing things down at VCU. Arts program in general is pretty strong. And the music program and the music scene in the city is very strong as well.
Yeah, that's very cool. Like, I love seeing that. We even got, our own kind of versions of that. We got high school jazz bands here that are like, winning national competitions and stuff. Shout out Garfield, Roosevelt, and all those. But it was kind of crazy. I was reading about that in VCU. You even got like metal bands that were started there. The bands Guar and Lamb of God, I read, were VCU students. And it's just, and that kind of just brought me to, I already had a thing about just kind of Virginia and music. You see, I had to wear my NERD hat today. Incredibly influential in my life and my music taste, Pharrell, Chad, and the Clips and all that.
Sir.
And even before that, Timbaland, Missy, that whole thing, in the mid-'90s. I'm kind of like an elder millennial, so that hit me like, just, the coolest thing I ever seen in 1996, 7, whatever that was.
And then Teddy Riley, too.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Teddy Riley. And then I kind of was doing a little bit more digging about this, like, Virginia music, and it goes so deep, and it's even deeper than, like, I thought, because, you got all your, like I mentioned then, you got your D'Angelo's, Devontae Swing from Jodeci, you got even guys like Lex Luger, who, was not even from Atlanta. He was from Virginia. But
Suffolk.
And he completely changed the sound of like all Southern rap. Everybody was copying off of him for a while. And even like I look back into it, even, the roots of country music, the roots of like jazz, like you were saying. And so like, what is it about Virginia's culture? Is it really something in the water, like the Pharrell Fest of the same name? Or, what is it about Virginia that kind of just brings all this together and puts you like light years ahead of the music game, kind of, in a way?
I feel like we were an interesting, like where Virginia sits on the map, it's like you're getting the South and the North. We're kind of a hybrid state, even though we're technically a Southern state, but it's like we're influenced by what's happening up North. I can at least speak for like Teddy Riley coming down to Virginia Beach and setting up shop and then giving out opportunities to like Pharrell and Chad and Tim, Missy. I think it was just like we're almost like the Southern cousins of everybody up in New York. And so you're getting a little bit of that influence too, and down south.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of seems like it's just a perfect, like, it's still absolutely part of the South, but it's kind of coastal, but it's kind of up there in the North. And I was actually having a conversation with a Drum, changed his name to Shelly, a musician from like years ago when he was kind of on his run. And he was kind of explaining that. He's like, you get a little bit of everything. You get in some neighborhoods, you feel like you're in LA. Some neighborhoods, you feel like you're in New York. Some neighborhoods, you're like, I'm absolutely in the South right now. So, yeah, I don't know if it's this kind of vortex where it just good for creativity, good for creating stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, that was very cool. And also was gonna say just a kind of side note about Virginia, just because I got some friends from there, got a lot of local or regular listeners from there. that John Denver song, is he really singing about the western part of Virginia and not West Virginia? Is that really a debate out there? Or is this just like
There is a gigantic difference between West Virginia and Western Virginia. A lot of people make a negative distinction, but it's just different. It's just different culture up there. Western Virginia is lots of trees, beautiful to go in the fall, drive through lots of mountains. West Virginia they just have a whole nother culture up there. It's kind of like going to North Carolina from Virginia.
Right on.
So, it's just a different thing.
Yeah, because I just saw some random, just kind of stupid viral video where a guy was explaining that. It's like he's actually talking about the western part of Virginia. He's not talking about West Virginia.
Like Bristol, Roanoke, Lexington, Lynchburg, all that stuff out there.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, shout out to all our Virginia listeners and, people tuned in from worldwide and all that. And just one last thing, kind of like on a, somewhat serious note, but just like jazz music, with so much going on in just music these days and so many genres getting blended, jazz is just kind of eternal. And, you still see, there's like no signs of slowing down. There's still plenty of thriving jazz scenes, not just in America, but, you look at what they're doing in like London, things like that, just kind of such a deep genre. I feel like it can be intimidating for people that aren't kind of born into it or playing an instrument in a band. And so, for any kind of like younger person or a person of any age that's trying to like get into jazz a little bit, what were like your entry points, or what were like some of your good like kind of first records that you really, where you got you started and started you on your journey?
My dad, he was like super into jazz, and my mom's like a classical singer, so and my sister's a violinist, so classical side, and then like kind of more into the jazz side. So my dad always had like kind of blue, obviously in the stereo. He had A Day in the Life by Wes Montgomery. That was just all stuff that I was like kind of just hearing, like, because not really actively listening, but it's just kind of in the car. It's just the vibes of the car whenever he picked me up. So totally. A lot of that stuff, a lot of the Herbie stuff, I know we're all generally into. And I mean, yeah, everybody's roots kind of stretch all over with that stuff. I mean, yeah, I say that, man. And, there's a lot of combos around jazz where it's just kind of like, what is jazz? What's not? Like, to me, and I think we all kind of share this, it's just kind of like jazz has always been a fusion of genres. Like, it's always had influences from everywhere. So I think if you're getting into the combo of like what's really jazz and what's whatever, some people consider only that real like straight ahead, like, swing, like that kind of just that vibe is jazz. And the way we play music and the way we record music is of the mindset that it's all free, it's all expression. It shouldn't really be focused too much on what the genre is or where it sits with everything. It's just kind of like jazz stretches a lot of ways. So I think anybody who's trying to get into it and go that way, like, I think that's one important thing to remember, because if you're viewing it as like jazz is this, music is this, music is not, you really kind of pigeonhole yourself into this kind of specific thing, kind of pigeonhole your development. Like, it's just like, music is this whole free thing. Jazz is the same thing. It's always going to take stuff from everywhere. So, I think having that mindset when you're getting into it is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else? Or
I kind of took that
specific
question.
records that bridge the gap.
Yeah,
that's what you were kind of asking about.
Yeah, kind of like that, or just like kind of entry points for anybody that I feel like jazz can be an intimidating genre for younger people to kind of get into, or just
agree.
people that and so like what's like entry point
for me?
Yeah,
it was Charles Mingus, Blues and Roots, because I tried to listen to Giant Steps. I tried to listen to like Miles Davis live. I tried to get into all that stuff. It was a little intimidating for me, but I could get down with Charles Mingus, and the album Blues and Roots for me was like, I could really get down with this. And then I could come back, I could circle back, and then I could go back to those heavier, like more classic jazz albums and have a greater appreciation for them a little farther down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of those ones that kind of open it up for you. You kind of revisit everything else with new ears and stuff like that. And then lastly, kind of like you mentioned something about, we do kind of get, especially you see it being a DJ, everybody trying to classify things and put them in these little boxes with genres. And, you know, it's like, what are we doing? Like, let's just make some good music that sounds good. And kind of like brings it to the last album, Solar Music. You kind of want to just talk about that term. That was the title of it. And when I kind of read into, you know, like your kind of bios and stuff, that's kind of what you know, this multi-genre kind of everything like being involved. It's kind of what's coming from, right?
Yeah. You about to talk? All right. Yeah, that was the last album where it was kind of like, you know, it's just a lot of stuff. It's everything. Like, you know, and the idea is solar music is for everybody under the sun. And the idea that, like, whoever listens to it, they're going to latch on to something. Like, if they don't like the whole album, they'll find something that they like. And that was just kind of us, the last album. But that was also kind of, like, all-purpose music. And it was kind of, like, it's always been kind of there. And it's just kind of been the like, kind of philosophy of just the band. It's just, like, you know, we're going to make records and not think about it too much. Like, you know, I mean, whatever direction. This new record's a little different that we're working on, but like we're gonna make stuff. We're gonna record everything, and then we'll figure it out later. You know what I'm saying? We'll figure out what goes on there. We'll figure out what the vibes are that we want to present. But it's just like it's always everything. Like, you know, and that's just how we're always gonna make music. It's just always gonna be
very dope,
stretched everywhere. So.
Well, yeah. Thank you guys for coming in. You said new record is on the way or being worked on right now. Maybe. I don't know if we're supposed to.
We're working. Yeah.
Worked on right now.
All right. Well, yeah. Stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for coming through. It's Butcher Brand from Richmond, Virginia. Mike Ramos on KEXP 90.3 FM Seattle, 92.7 Bay Area, KEXP.org online. Thanks for listening. Have a good one, y'all.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.